Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon to all of you. I would like to express my utmost gratitude to the organizer, Noor Malaysia and ABIM, for organizing this such marvelous and awesome event on good governance quest for the future. And our session for this afternoon will capture or we will discuss on the component 3 on technology with the topic of science and innovation, the pursuit of societal excellence. A little bit introduction on our session for today. The digital economy has been a point of discussion since the start of the dot-com boom. The essence of science and innovation has been the key initiator for the digitalization of the market from the state, a typical free market view of things. Now, in the digital age, it has somehow taken to a new form of its own, fueling the growth of multiple industries and businesses into giants we call unicorns. These businesses operate on the tenets of trust, building from the ground up with their targeted audience. As mankind continues to innovate, many spectacular findings have been unearthed. Each and every finding has evolved the essence of how a society functions. The tenets of societal development grow closely with innovation, from the first wheel to the now beaming artificial intelligence industry. Every day we are seeing daily innovations springing up from many parts of the world. Many economists are astounded by the rate of our innovation and how rapid science has evolved. Hence, what is the role of science and innovation in building a society, and how does it affect on how society functions? And what are the core tenets of innovation that one must understand to further impact society in positive way? And today, we have our distinguished panel speakers. I would like to give some introduction first about myself. I am Effendy, the moderator for this afternoon. I am the CEO of Blockworq Sdn Bhd, a company that focusing on IR 4.0 and blockchain as a core solution, blockchain as a solution. And also I am the council member of Qitmeer Foundation that based in Dubai and Shenzhen, focusing on blockchain development and blockchain solution as well. And I would like to introduce our distinguished speakers. We have 4 powerful, marvelous, and all are international level from various backgrounds. I will start to introduce first Dr. Mazlan Abbas. Dr. Mazlan Abbas is a co-founder and CEO of FAVORIOT IoT Sdn Bhd. Is ranked among top 50 global thought leaders on the Internet of Things, February 2019, and Digital Disruption by Thinkers 316, top 50 most impactful smart cities leaders by World CSR Congress 2017, ranked top 10 in IoT, top 100 influencers by Postscapes 217 and 218, ranked number 20 thought leader in IoT by 2014, and of course, he is the United Lunar Industry Personality 2016, and before FAVORIOT IoT, he spent 2.5 years as CEO of Redstone IoT and 8 years in Mimos Berhad as Senior Director Wireless Communication Cluster. He also spent 13 years in Celcom, handling many senior management positions. Prior to Celcom, he spent 10 years as Associate Professor at University of Technology Malaysia. He was the adjunct professor for UTM, for UTP, various universities, and of course, Dr. Mazlan is a frequent speaker at many major and established IoT, iPhone 0, Smart Cities, and Telco conference. We can say that, and he got his PhD in telecommunication from UTM, and also received honorary doctorate in electrical engineering from UTHM, and he also a TEDx speaker. So we can say that Dr. Mazlan Abbas is a kind of hybrid person, industry plus academician. Okay, and second, we have our distinguished speaker, another international global thought leader, Dr. Gamal Albinsaid. Dr. Gamal Albinsaid is a doctor, health innovator, researcher, social entrepreneur, who is also widely known as an inspiration of Indonesian pride, born in September 8, 1980 in Malang. He was graduated from Brawijaya University and has gained many achievements since at young age. Throughout his studies, Dr. Gamal Albinsaid has won 12 scientific awards from various leading universities in Indonesia. And he also was inspired actually it's a main motivation for this story of a scavenger girl named Khairunisa, who died in his father's trash caused by diarrhea and unable to seek for healthcare access, and has become the main motivation for Dr. Gamal Albinsaid to develop a range of health innovations to achieve his vision, open doors to health access for everyone, including for the underprivileged. Various innovations has been developed include garbage clinical insurance. In bahasa Indonesia, called as a klinik asuransi sampah. They will tell us more about that after this. InMed, siapapeduli.id, and various other health innovation. And the best thing about his social enterprise movement, Dr. Gamal Albinsaid also actually awarded, and I think he's the first youth in the world and the only one in Asia to be awarded by His Excellency, the Prince of Wales Young Sustainability Entrepreneur Award from the United Kingdom, handed over directly by Prince Charles. The Castle of Buckingham invited him and gave him award on his movement on the social enterprise. And now, Dr. Gamal also has earned more than 50 awards, and 11 of them are international awards from UK, Japan, Germany, South Korea, India, Thailand, Cambodia. Wow, this is marvelous. And another global thought leader in senior, IR Muhaimin Iqbal. I can say that IR Muhaimin Iqbal, he has a background of engineering. He's a philanthropy conglomerate. He's a CEO of Green Wakaf, International Wakaf Fund Foundation. He also the chairman of the New Energy Asia company, chairman on Institute of Bioeconomy Science. He focusing on the bioeconomy research R&D, and he involved with many corporate companies as well and developing the startup as well. And his education background from IPB, Institute Pertanian Bogor, on the agriculture engineer. He's a Chartered Insurance Institute from London. And also he's also got some certification from Australia and New Zealand Institute of Insurance and Finance. And last but not least, wow, all the speakers have a very established, actually I just mentioned half of their profile. If I mention their profile is not anymore, we cannot continue with our session. We just speaking all about their profile only. And last but not least, Mr. Mohamad Johan. He is a certified trainer for green productivity by APO, Asian Productivity Organization from Japan. Born and raised in Singapore, primary education until 12 years old. He immigrated with his family to Malacca and traveled part of the world in relation to waste management and clean world initiatives since 2010. From 2015, he forms HEM Malaysia Group and established MHIRA, MHIRA, Malaysia Hem Tech Industrial Research Association, focusing on research and future hem technology and development for Malaysia. His area of interest and area of expertise is on advanced material industry related to hemp industry, biomass, waste management, food security, zero waste hemp technology, which under MHIRA, he has introduced linking hemp and UN SDGs 2030 during the ASEAN Hemp Summit 2020 in Kathmandu, Nepal. And previously, he was also the former president and co-founder of Pertubuhan RCOMM Lestari World Cleanup Day and Sejahtera Malaysia, founding convener towards Zero Waste Campaign, mentor Southeast Asia LDIW Foundation, and first initiated EcoBricks in Malaysia, and a lot of joint collaboration with researchers for plastic pollution in the ocean, and of course, advisory for a lot of sustainable campus initiatives, especially with International Islamic Universities Malaysia, IIUM. And wow, marvelous profile of our panel speaker for today. And I'm so honored to be part of this session and would like to start. For all of you, our session we have 3 rounds. We will start the first round on the introduction, on the question on the introduction that related to the industries by the panel speaker. And the second round will go deeper into the challenges, into a lot of various solution, explanation, innovation, discussion. And the third, we will have some summary from all the speakers. And after 3 rounds on our discussion, I would like to open for the Q&A. Please save and please raise a good questions to our speakers, because it's quite difficult to combine. To bring them together in this wonderful session. And my first question, I would like to raise the first question to the thought leader in IoT, iPhone in Malaysia. We can say that he's a father of a big data in Malaysia, because he mentioned, he preached about IoT, about that time, telematic data. We can say that he's a pioneer in Malaysia. So I would like to give one question to Dr. Mazlan Abbas. Doctor, how actually we address the digital divide in the digital world, and how to embrace this digital literacy to the countries, to developed countries, especially in Malaysia and ASEAN?
Okay, first of all, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and thank you very much, Mr. Effendy. It's an honor for me to be together with the distinguished panels over here. It's interesting thing about this Noor Conference is about talking about governance and also helping how the technology will help the society. So regarding these questions about how can we address this kind of digital divide in our developing world, I see this in different countries. They have a different DNA. So any human beings have different DNA. So even the nation themselves have different DNA. In this case of this DNA, what I meant was D is about the device, N is about the application network, and A is about the applications. So the readiness of this DNA within different nations is different from each other. I'll take an example of a very basic thing, the N part, which is the network, the most important infrastructure part to bridge this particular digital divide. For us, I would believe that internet itself should be a utility. Everyone should have access to the internet. I think we have seen the last 2 years when we had pandemic, internet is so critical for our business. So most likely, if a country which don't have internet access and very low capability of internet, it's very difficult for them to move forward. A lot of countries, whenever they have broadband access, their GDP will be always increased. But the challenges is especially in the rural areas. This is where we are seeing that divide becoming bigger and bigger. Infrastructures that we have to put in, like microwave and fibers, these are very expensive infrastructure. Satellite is also very expensive, and maybe the speed is not as good as the terrestrial. And we have seen technology has moved. Google from Alphabet, they have attempt to set up what they call the balloon project. Project Loon is an internet balloon where they put the balloon which have connectivity at the stratosphere altitude of between 18 to 35 kilometers away. So they have tested it out, but unfortunately after 9 years, this project has been closed down, winding down, because it is very expensive. But the idea is good, to bring connectivity to all the unserved and the underserved communities around the world. But because of the cost that we want to provide this to the end users, and they still haven't found out a good way to build a long-term sustainable business. So it's unfortunately this project has been closed down. But somehow we are seeing that new technologies are coming out. Now they are looking at low Earth orbit technology. We are seeing SpaceX, Starlink. Elon Musk is very good in disrupting a lot of business. So they have put this low orbit. They have launched these satellites, about 1,800 already up there. by June 2021. The speed is about 50 megabit up to 150 megabit. So the latency also, so it's good for real-time applications. And they aim to deploy a very staggering about 42,000 satellites. This is very huge number. So meaning to say that we have a good coverage everywhere around the world, serving the billion kind of people. And the cost now is becoming cheaper. I think they have launched it out in even Malaysia, I'm not sure, but they're still waiting for regulatory to approve that. The moment they approve, you will see coverage of internet will be everywhere around the world. So that is one of the things that we are seeing now. But other competitors than Starlink, we have seen Amazon's, the Project Kuiper, Boeing, Viasat, Telesat, and many others, even Chinese countries also, they are building these satellites. So many of them are waiting for this kind of approval. The moment you have the right infrastructure, that's when the applications can come in. You know, you can have good education with the right application, the content that you are now giving to the rural people. So you are closing that gap. But of course, one of the important things we need to also provide is the affordable devices. A lot of times we put infrastructure in, but the cost of the devices is too expensive even for the rural people. So we must find a way for them. No, even we are seeing the pandemic that happened now. We used to think about one computer per home, yeah, one PC per home. But that concept is no longer anymore. The moment we are stuck down, not going anywhere, there might be 3 or 4 or even 5 PCs inside the home. So you must find a way to have affordable device. So by having the right DNA, then such countries can close the digital divide. Because we are now seeing another divide is coming in, the IR 4.0, which have new technologies. If you are not taking care of this, that kind of divide between the IR 4.0 community and the IR 3.0, the 2.0 people, is becoming bigger and bigger. So technology now, we want to ensure that we are closing the gap by the people by giving them the right education and also business opportunity for them to live. Pass back to you, Effendy.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Mazlan Abbas, for your powerful introductions on, the digital literacy, the comparison that you raised by having the Elon Musk, for example, right? It's very good to have that kind of information, the wisdom from you. Thank you so much, Dr. Mazlan Abbas. Now, I would like to ask to raise questions to IR Pak Iqbal. Yes. Because Pak Iqbal, yes, your experience in our session, we will touch from every sector by focusing on the expertise of our speakers. So Pak Iqbal, you are in the renewable sector, right?
Yeah.
So please share as introduction, the potential, then all the movement that you have made in ASEAN and in Indonesia. So what is the potential on the renewable energy? Because we can say that in countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, ASEAN, we still in the traditional way on on utilizing the power supply, for example, right? We still have that kind of not so much on 4.0. Or so please explain the potential, the challenges on the renewable sector that you are involved.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. You hear my voice, is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Very clear.
Okay, thank you. You know that we are now the first year of the decades of Sustainable Development Goals. SDG decade is now. So we are starting this. What is trying to achieve in this SDG is basically to reduce emission for everybody, including every country. They have national determined contribution, commitment to reduce certain emission. While this is not achieved yet, but next 2 months from now, in November, there will be high-level convention about UN Convention on Framework Convention on climate, basically Convention on Climate Change. What is the proposal of this Convention on Climate Change? one agenda that will be brought by many parties during the next convention is basically what they call it net zero. Net zero basically is that's the only way for us to reduce the emission to keep the temperature, global temperature, and 1.5 degrees above the pre-industrial area. So this is what we are, the world, trying to do. Why it is very important for us in these ASEAN countries, particularly us who have around the equator, because we have the all resources to do this net zero things. You know, the people in Western country or in the northern part of the globe or in the southern part of the world, they do not have sun every time. So they do not have a lot of biodiversity like what we have. We in this equator is the one that can grow almost everything year round. During this next decade, it's very important for us basically to grow things, to grow the proper things in arid land. In the what we call it Indonesia, for example, we have 14 million hectares of what we call it critical and supercritical land, basically that inhabited or unplanted land. But if we can grow something on that, and this thing can grow energy, then they have two impact. First, it's provide renewable energy, carbon neutral energy, and then second, they can absorb carbon dioxide during the plantation. So will be very easy if we want to do that, and we can do that basically to grow things. What our philosophy in the what we call it our startup, we call it New Energy Asia. Basically, our philosophy is basically we are planting trees to save life, but while we are doing that, we produce carbon neutral energy. We promote, for example, certain tree that we call it Tamanu. You may hear the plant Tanam. Tamanu is based on our research. Is the best tree, can survive almost in every difficult land. Can be grow in sandy land, ex-fire forest. They can grow in the beach. They can grow almost everywhere. And even we are now invited by the government of Saudi Arabia trying to test this in Saudi Arabia, because the Saudi, they have a program what they call it Saudi Green Initiative, and we send a proposal that to grow this thing in Saudi. So if we can grow this, we will have we are throw one stone for two birds. Basically, they reduce the emission as well as provide the renewable energy. Then the countries like us in archipelago country like Indonesia, we have 17,500 of islands. What is the problem with this? The problem is whatever the price of oil in the international market, energy to some of our remote islands is still very, very expensive because the cost of distribution is very expensive. So with these trees that we are planting, basically, we will introduce very soon, in fact, we are now start planting it, we will soon have what we call it local fuel. Basically, the fuel, a kind of fuel that we can grow and use in the same location. With that, we have more advantage, reduce the footprint, and then create a job, and then create energy, and energy economy become belong to the common people like us, because during the fossil-based energy business is big and very expensive business. It only can be played by giant conglomerate and so on. But during this bio and economy era, we can introduce energy that even people, a small company in the in the village, they can produce. One of our machine, for example, we call it micro refinery and power plant, can produce energy for fuel for 300 liters per day, for example. That's enough for small village in the very remote area. So they do not need to wait the renewable or the fossil-based fuel that need to come from the from the big island and so on. So with this, we want to make a change, basically make a better life, because it's a greener world for us, but also better economy, because you can play wherever you are or whatever you are doing in the remote area. Some project in the remote area, you can produce your own biofuel. When we mention biofuel, actually it's not biodiesel. what we produce is what we call it drop-in biofuel. It means exactly the same like hydrocarbon fuel, like diesel, like gasoline, like LPG, for example. But it's from renewable material. Renewable material could be tamanu oil, or could be biomass, and even could be waste food or whatever that's from the biomass. And we produce this, but that's why we call it New Energy Asia, because we want to introduce affordable clean energy for everybody, particularly in people in the very remote island in Indonesia, that we have thousands and thousands of it that need the energy. So that's what basically what we are doing, and we can elaborate later when point interest of you to.
Wow, wonderful. When you mentioned about local fuel, I'm very touched when you mentioned about Indonesia has 7,000 islands, and of course Indonesia one of the contributor on the petroleum in the world, right? One of the largest in the world. But still, Indonesia have the problems on the petroleum issues because still expensive. That cannot cover to all islands as well. And when you mentioned about local fuel, how we need to create the new industries, the solution that you made by having this local fuel, that you can create new energy, new jobs, and also something on the biomass, for the waste management, with New Energy Asia, clean energy, is a wonderful effort from you, Pak Iqbal. And of course, this will lead to societal happiness, right? When we settle the issues of energy, issues of jobs, economic issues, and health as well, right? Because new energy, I believe that will go for the clean environment as well. Well done, Pak Iqbal. Our third speaker, first in Malaysia, then we fly to Indonesia, then we come back to Malaysia. I would like to raise my question to Mr. Johan, Mr. Mohamad Johan. Mr. Mohamad Johan?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, we want to see your face. Okay, yeah. Alhamdulillah, you are there. All right, Mr. Mohamad Johan. Because our first round, we focus on your industries. Please introduce more about your campaign. Your campaigns on, we call as waste management. Your campaigns on, we call as zero waste campaign. Please introduce more, and of course a little bit on the hemp technology. I think it's very new in Malaysia, maybe in ASEAN region as well, and of course related to your campaign, this new industry. Of course, we need to do a lot of R&D. So in Southeast Asia, basically in Southeast Asia and Malaysia. On R&D. So where are we now, and where actually should we go? Maybe in terms of the costing, the government support, or the mentality, the fund. Please explain on that. That related to your industry as well. The floor is yours.
Great. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And I think from the basic, since you mentioned about waste, I involved in Malaysia back in 2010 when we initiate a cleanup in Hulu Selangor, starting from Kuala Kubu Baru, where we just pick up all waste which are laid out by the roadside. So we gather some of the local NGO, and we then about 4 hours, then we start collecting. Even the lorry that we chartered, we can't cope. We did 3 rounds in order to cope with all the waste that people are just throwing by the roadside. So that was the first initiative that we did before I was appointed as the World Cleanup Day mentor for Southeast Asia, where we introduced the World Cleanup Day campaign in Malaysia back in 2015. So the whole waste that we have collected, in fact, we have more than 100 locations doing a cleanup involving all countries in nationwide. I'm talking about. Even I had the opportunity to travel to Bali and of course to the Philippines and all this region to represent the Let's Do It World campaign on World Cleanup Day. So what happened after 2015, we developed some eco schools to solve single-use plastic into an eco bricks project. So there is one school, for example, in SMK Darul Ihsan Selangor. They have set up a workshop into PET bottles. We call it eco bricks project. So they even have a workshop center. So the whole Towards Zero Waste initiative under the Arkom Lestari that we set up back in 2010, when I managed to travel to Estonia for a Clean World Conference, that's where I came across hemp industry, where people are eating hemp food. They are actually involving in the production of hemp. And after understanding deeper, it seems that that's not actually falls in the drug category. So therefore, I came back to Malaysia in 2015. We just gathered some advocates and we focus on industrial hemp. So I like to share with the audience, when we're talking about industrial hemp, we are not referring to the medical cannabis industry. That's a totally different industry. So industrial hemp is focusing on the advanced material. As I heard what IR Iqbal mentioned, that if we're talking about hemp, it's a plant that actually can support the upstream and downstream. Hemp can produce ethanol for gas, for example, or even from downstream. Nowadays, the lack of nutritional food. See, like currently we're experiencing a new phase in our lifestyle since the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted. Labor market globally during 2020 have dropped. People lost their job and other rapidly adjusted working from home. You see, as offices closed. And in fact, when we saw the recent white flag movement in Malaysia especially, the movement identified people in the need of food. And it has revealed the unexpected. So there are no statistics indicate that the number of those in need, but social media reflects it, such as it's a desperation is currently happening in this country. So therefore, the COVID-19 mitigation strategies, particularly the lockdowns, have actually serious unintended consequences beyond our statistical estimation. So this actually lead to my sharing on the industry, and what the current situation need now is leading to a preparation for its food security. So hemp produces best protein. We have issues now with our animal feed is rising high. The corn and especially the soy is raising very high, and the chicken is getting higher. But there's not an accurate data where we refer back to the animal feed, whether it's really organic and all those GMOs issue on that side. So because of its problematic effect on health, so our household food insecurity places a big burden on healthcare system. Adult in food insecure household have greater rates of developing chronic disease. Mental health issue is facing right now: arthritis, asthmatic, diabetes, cancer, and these are more likely that people will die early. You see, so I relate both the ways into the future industrial hemp I'm referring to is the country should lay the foundation for a resilient and health food system that is socially, ecologically, and economically sustainable. That's my feedback, Effendy. Thank you. You mute your mic.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Johan, for very nice explanation on your campaign, on promoting the R&D, your involvement, advising the industry, investing in the people, and of course, when you touch about food security, I can say that you are involved as a food security man. We have first speaker as an IoT man. We can say also Iron Man as well. We have new energy man. We have now food security man. Now, I would like to raise my question to our medical man. social entrepreneur of the year. I mean, the icon of social enterprise that got a lot of awards from Western countries. My question to Dr. Gamal, you may unmute. Dr. Gamal, you are the icon. In fact, your name in the Wikipedia, right? Wikipedia and all the news with the powerful record when you got awards from Buckingham, from Prince Charles, and then you also met Russian president in Russia in one forum, and then you spoke to him personally. Actually, Dr. Gamal, this is a very inspirational for the young people, young generation like us. I would like to know more about your campaign, for example, your solution on the garbage clinical insurance, clinic answer sampah, that you receive sampah, you receive the garbage, and you turn to something as a token for the people, the underprivileged people, right? And then about your inmate, please share more about your startups, your social enterprise, and the impact to the society, and how to be like you. I mean, actually, what actually attract the most this Western world about your movement? Please share. And the floor is yours. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pak Effendy, for the time given to me to share about my idea, insight about my experience also in the same time. And first of all, I want to say thank you for everyone come to this session, and especially also Pak Muhaimin Iqbal, one of my mentor and inspirator in Indonesia. I'm very proud of you, and you inspire me a lot of with your innovation and support a lot of people in Indonesia. Okay, so I will bring my main point of discussion today in two aspects. First of all, about my experience and in developing healthcare and also innovation to fight against inequality, and secondly, I will bring to in the good governance aspect as one of the subject to discuss today. So actually, I believe that everything starts with empathize. So empathy is the connection that leads to innovation. Yeah, in Indonesia and ASEAN and the world, I believe there is a lot of problem. Let's start with the word problem. In 2017, I with some of world social entrepreneur in Thailand, we launched World Equality Forum in the same time with World Economic Forum. Because at that time, could you imagine if we combine some total the wealth of 80 most world people in the world, it is same as with half of the world population. Yeah, and it's a growth. Last report from Oxfam show that if we total the amount of money from 8 people, it's same as with half of the population of the planet. So could you imagine? So few have so much, so many have so little. So I think this is also only one part of the problem. We have healthcare problem, yes, about also access of water, sanitation, and also about the infectious disease, and also we have a big problem about stunting, and a lot of healthcare problem in Indonesia and also ASEAN and across the world. And so I believe that we face a lot of problem, but at the same time, we cannot only judge about this problem. We should do something. And I believe that empathy will bring us to develop innovation, have an idea to start a solution. So in my focus right now, actually we focus on health innovation. We have 3 innovations to fight against health inequality. First, garbage clinical insurance. It is micro health insurance program, which is garbage is financing resources. So let me tell you a true story of a 3-year-old girl, Hairunisa. She was the doctor of garbage scavenger named Supriyono, who only get income $1 a day. One day, she got diarrhea disease, but she could not get health access because of unaffordable health costs. Every day, she followed her father looking for garbage, and finally, 5 June 2005, she died in garbage collection. As a medical doctor, I said it should not happen and I must do something. This motivated us to develop garbage clinical insurance, micro health insurance program, which use garbage as financing resources. So what we have done is make the community mobilize their own unused resources to become fun and give it back to them as health access. So practically, we offer residents to submit their garbage as worth $1 to us every month. In return, we cover primary healthcare services. and we believe this innovation have objective. We want to give freedom from fear, worry, and pain because we believe that health is fundamental human right. And our second innovation is waptv.my. So when I'm internship in a hospital, in Indonesia, if we finish our bachelor degree as medical doctor student, we must working in government hospital 1 year. One day I working in emergency room, and I'm in charge in the night, and I get one patient awal nikmat. He got a traffic accident and have a fracture at the time and need high cost of services. And then I just upload in my social media. And tomorrow in 1 day, I get a lot of money from public to support my patient. And then at that day, at that time, I start to my second innovation. We call it siapapeduli.id. In English, it's mean who care, but it's a question. So we should care. And I love this innovation because it's very simple innovation. With small team compared to other, but they can give a big impact to society in my country. So we have impact. We serve thousands of people in Indonesia and also across HD city, more than about HD city in Indonesia. And our third innovation is in math. Actually, this is our last, but it's very complex, and we still develop this innovation. And the first version is for Medika, and the idea is very simple. We want to bring medical doctor and health worker to the patient of poor people. So it's like the home care service, but social friendly. So, and then we develop the second version. We call it in math, and then we now still grow this innovation to enhance the impact, make sure everything is can achieve sustainability of our innovation. And last but not least, I developed Indonesia COVID care. In the term in this situation, we have I believe Malaysia, Indonesia, we have same problem with COVID-19, and we also start Malang COVID care, because actually it's new innovation. When the COVID become pandemic, we try to do writing book, give education, and distribute a lot of face masks to community. But after 1 year, we fight against second wave of the pandemic, and at that time it's become big experience for me because I must help my relatives, friends, family that have infected with COVID-19. We looking for medical drugs, and also we looking for a lot of devices needed, and also looking for like ventilator, ICU, and hospital, because we have a problem at the time because a lot of patients get infected with COVID-19. So in my experience, and also when I meet a lot of innovation in the world, for example, Zipline. This is the second most disruptive innovation in the world. So my friend Keller, they developed in Rwanda. It's like drone that can deliver medical products in the rural area or in the specific area that's hard to achieve with maybe another vehicle and another transportation. I learned from a lot of them, and I believe that they start innovation because of they have story that bring the innovation is come up. So if we discuss about the value that is important for us right now is empathize to community. So empathy is one of the important thing. And proudly I want to share one of the research that give a good. And I think this is the strength of one Indonesia. In Indonesia fight a lot of problems in the world. I looking for a lot of information, data about Indonesia, and I almost never met the data that bring Indonesia in number one in the world. But we are give awarded, and also we give the first position in the world as the most charitable country in the world, the most generous country in the world. So this I want to share to all of you. Today we have a lot of problems. In the future we will have a lot of problems. We will fight against a lot of problems. But we can fight this problem. We can support each other because of the value that we have as human. That is like the social awareness. And I think it's not enough. This is the start of the innovation. And now, the most important thing, also our capability to define the problem and also create a solution. So problem that I mentioned before is primary engine of innovation, but problem is not enough, because innovation is pivotal moment when talented, ambitious, and motivated people seek the opportunity to act on their idea. So I believe if we talk about good governance, quest of the future, I believe that our capability to define problem, create solution, so like critical thinking and creative thinking is very important. So we will not become haters or lovers, so we become director of change. So we are not just idea, but we also generate solution, because problem solving is part between critical thinking and creative thinking. Last but not least, you have idea, we have idea, but everyone has an idea. So it's really about executing idea and attracting other people to help you work on your idea. So stay focused. Don't talk what you are gonna do. Don't criticize somebody else what they are not doing. Go for it now. And I believe that good governance must implement human-centered design or design thinking to redefine problem, to challenge assumption, and to create new innovation. And my message to a lot of young people in Indonesia, Malaysia, and ASEAN, and across a lot of people in the world is work hard in silence and let your impact be your noise. Thank you, Effendy.
Okay, thank you to Dr. Gamal. I can say that the solution that you made, especially on the clinic asuransi sampah, the garbage clinic insurance, you solve actually these problems. First, health problem, because you give medicine. Second, you solve also economic problem. You take the garbage and you give the medicine to the poor people, and of course the poor people will settle the issues. I mean, the people will settle issue of the cleanliness, right? So settle three issues: clean environment, economy, and health as well. And your advice is on idea is very important, but the more important is how you need to execute the idea and keep focus. Thank you, Dr. Gamal. And I come back to Dr. Mazlan Abbas. Now we are in the second round. Dr. Mazlan Abbas, I want to combine two questions in one question, one solution from you. The first, we would like to know, because you are the IoT man, I can say you are like Iron Man for Malaysia, IoT man. Everything is connected, right? How actually IoT can solve the trust and good governance in the country, in the industry? So how IoT can help on the trust and good governance, like in transparency? Maybe you can share about the technology. And second, because you involved in a lot of the corporate world before you enter and you create your own startup for I think 3-4 years, right? So what is actually the challenges for the tech startup, the challenges and the opportunity in the tech startup in Malaysia and in ASEAN region? The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Effendy. I think we know that IoT have a lot of benefits. IoT can make process more efficient, gain higher productivity, and even create new revenue streams, new products. Things which have not been connected can be connected now. So when we look at about how IoT can help in providing better trust or even governance, we see the issues that IoT can help. I give a scenario whereby we see a lot of leakages happening now. Items which being sent and received are not the same items. The manifest, people might see that somehow it changes when they arrive at the destinations. And a lot of logistic companies don't like that if you have IoT, because it will ensure that the tracing and tracking will happen more efficiently. But somehow people want to have that kind of leakages, abusing their power. And you see company assets have been abused a lot of times. They use companies' vehicle for their own private use and so on and so forth. You see logistics and transportation, when you carry very expensive items or even carry palm oil, petrol, diesel, things can get lost along the way. And also we are seeing that process now, what happened, if the process is too dependent on the humans, either mistakes will happen, or even if you have a lack of integrity by the people who we assign them to be responsible, then we have a lot of issues of leakages that's going to happen. So IoT can play a very big role here in terms of tracking, tracing, even detecting any abnormalities that happen. I would call that things that you put attached to the sensors to this particular assets, which is very important. The spies, smaller spies that can report to the management that, hey, I'm here, I'm not supposed to be here. I should be supposed to be there. I'm supposed to be handed over to the right person and all that. But if you do that, things will not lost in the way. So this is good. You put RFID for tracking. So process can be fully automated without any human intervention. And of course, with technology like Effendy is using blockchain, that blockchain have smart contracts. And IoT, whenever it triggers certain thing, instead of sending an alert, it's sending a smart contract alerts. So you can provide a smart, initiating a smart contract between another party without any human intervention in between. So I think for us, we see also a lot of the digital is happening now, and a lot of companies are not turning digital. Our company ourselves have been doing this for quite some time. And we see also that there's a lot of challenges that happen. Of course, the market in Malaysia, as compared to the market in Indonesia, has a very big difference, the Gamal Muhaimin, because the market in Indonesia is very huge, as compared to Malaysia, which is multiple times lower than that. But because of that market, the consumer market is big, it's easier if there is a market that can have a better traction. So I think it's important for startups to have very fast traction, very fast way of getting product market fit into the market as fast as possible, so that they can sustain themselves and become sustainable. That's very important. We need to see that the whole ecosystem have access to the right fundings. So we want to have investors, when they look at technologies, something that is something which is quite risky, but you need to support them, because technology is something which is very fragile and agile manner. But we are seeing a lot of companies in Malaysia too that have grown quite fast and quite big. For example, here in Malaysia, one of the technology companies like Aerodyne, one of the drone companies, drone market is quite big. And recently, Aerodyne has become one of the drone service, number one drone service player in the world. So it's quite good. And they have gone very fast because they do acquisitions, big companies, drone companies worldwide, and they become that. So in terms of us, like for example, Favorite IoT, what we like to help is also to enable other startups in the area of IoT to grow too. So in fact, we do have a platform, what we call the Favorite IoT platform, as a service. So we offer this platform for the other applications provider or even startup who wants to build an IoT solutions can easily connect their sensors to the platform and create their own applications, collect their own data, and they do analysis. So we have encouraged this, and we have seen that there's a lot of people already around the world have been using the platform. So in this way, we reach out the market, not only from local, and we have seen our market have now reached about 20% of the users of the platform is overseas. But hopefully we have more, in fact, hopefully in Indonesia too. Yeah. So that's how we see that the challenge is always there in terms of traction. We need to have fast to the market, and we need to have access to the funding. But again, this challenge will be overcome when we have, able to break out from our current thinking. Yeah. So our perspective, Effendy, thanks.
Thank you to Dr. Mazlan. I can say that that the idea for you that we need to have, the challenges on the fast adoption to the market is very important, because the impact from the funding also will influence the successful story to the startup, right? And when you mentioned about the sensor, I think maybe the politician, the authorities will scare to you because you can create a lot of James Bond equipment, right, to spy people. Yeah, but hopefully something that we can improve in terms of our policies, authorities in order to counter the corruption, right? I think technology can be used to counter, to reduce the bribery issue, the corruption. What happened to the countries like Scandinavia? They use a lot of technology like blockchain tech for integrity, like tech for integrity, also very famous in Western world. And of course, IoT is a core for the IF 1.0, will be very important on the sensors mechanism to capture the data. And back to Pak Iqbal on renewable energy. So Pak Iqbal, you can unmute your speaker. Yeah, Pak Iqbal. Yeah, can please. Yeah, Pak Iqbal. So my question to you, also I comment two situations. First, what is the challenges in your industries? Because why? When it comes to renewable sector, energy, on the renewable energy, a lot of issues on regulation will be very, very headache, right? Because you want to disrupt, we can say to disrupt the traditional sector that control or monopoly by the government, right? Of course, regulation and the authority. Maybe a clash on that, first, the question. And second, how you want to make new energy is a core commodity. So what is your strategy on that? First, the challenges, regulation, authority, government, traditional thinking methodology. And second, the opportunities and how you can create new energy as a core community. The floor is yours. The floor is yours, Pak Iqbal. Pak Iqbal, please unmute. Yeah.
Okay. Basically, we learn a lot from blockchain or distributed ledger technology. Basically, that's that's how Bitcoin can make all other world currencies become very much less powerful. They compared to they used to be. But the same with the energy sectors. That during fossil era, energy has become the toys for the big guys. That big corporation and so on. But during the renewable era, resources very much distributed, and the regulation will be powerless during the renewable energy era. Why? I give you an example. If you buy a solar panel to put in your top of your house, for example, then how government can protect you from doing that? Then how the utility company can protect you from doing that? They cannot do anything because you buy it and use it yourself. Let's say, if I do the same, I make a small engine, small machine, what we call it micro refinery power plant, for example, and then corporation, industry buy my product, and then they can process their own fuel. Then who can prevent from doing that? Because we are not selling the energy, but we are selling the machine, so the people can buy that. What they buy then from the community, they can buy garbage, like Dr. Gamal has. They can buy, waste oil cooking oil, for example, any other thing that you can process. So what they are doing is actually provide market access for the people around them, and then process with their machine into the energy. Then the regulation, they must think twice. How can regulate this? So this is why the biggest challenge is the mindset of everybody, including the regulators. That's because the world needs this clean energy, and the United Nations agreed that every people should have access on clean energy. But the people in the government, people in the big corporation, energy corporation, they are very reluctant to change. They were very reluctant, basically, to allow these small people like us to have their own energy. So this is what we are trying to do. That's what we are doing in Energy Asia, new energy. That's why we call ourselves as New Energy Asia, because we want to keep educating people that during the renewable era, during the SDG area, and particularly during the net zero area, that's now start from November, become a buzzword in the world energy, the net zero energy emission, basically. Then everybody must think differently. Same like the central bank people, when they see the blockchain, the Bitcoin, for example, they must think it's totally different to understand that the nature, the force of the nature that they cannot prevent, they should support it, or otherwise then they will basically hinder the people from getting the advancement of the technology. So the same with the energy. So for our innovation, for example, basically, same like Dr. Gamal says, that just do what you can do, and then worry the regulation later. Because if we build the regulation, then people in the innovation, our innovators, would not move or will not make any change if we build the government to allow us for doing this, doing that. So this is the way. So the biggest challenge to answer your question is basically to change the mindset of the people. Not only people in the common people like us, but also people who sit as a ministry, sit as the Directorate General or something like that, to change their mind. That's the renewable energy, distributed energy generation, distributed fuel production will come similar the way where the blockchain of Bitcoin come. So the people can produce either from solar, from wind, from whatever, and then in our case we introduce a commodity, as you ask, a commodity, what we call it Tamanu seed, or Tamanu oil seed, TOS. Tamanu oil seed is a particular plant that everybody can plant this, and if they want to do not process this seed, they can sell it in packet or something like that. They can see everywhere. You can send it everywhere, and then processed by whoever they have this small machine that we develop. So we have already the miniature of the process, and a lot of research, of course, need to be done. But long before year 2030, where the SDG come, I believe that our machine and we start planting this. If you are in Malaysia or Indonesia, wherever you want to start to planting these trees, the very high oil producing trees, and can survive in very difficult area, we can provide the seed because we donate it under Wakaf scheme. Whoever want to plant, we just give the seed, because with the Wakaf fund, we can now already have a lot of this seed, and everybody want to plant, we can send the seed to be planted, and then at the same time the plantation grow, then our technology will be mature by that time. So this is the first is the challenge of the mindset as well. Okay, return to you.
Thank you. Thank you to IR Pak Iqbal on a very good explanation. When you mentioned, hello, can you hear me? Something like I'm lagging here.
Certainly.
Oh, okay. So when you mentioned about the toys for the big guy, energy is a toys for the big guy, and then when you mentioned about the mindset of the people that we need, the regulators need to be changed, right? You need to understand the force of nature, the power of the people, especially on the technology, right? We cannot prevent the enhancement of the innovation. That's a nature. We can say
we lost Effendy.
Effendy, we lost you.
I think organizer should take over.
Hello, good morning everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zamira. I'll be taking over from here on. Thank you so much, everyone. So let's continue with the session. Give me a second.
You have question and answer session, Brother Safandi?
Yeah. So do you guys mind if we go into the question and answer session? Let's open it to the floor.
Yeah, I have questions.
Yeah. Please, sir.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Fauzan from Tripartite, also from International Islamic University, Malaysia. I'm going to ask my question to Dr. Mazlan Abbas. Alhamdulillah, we go advanced on Internet of Things and Internet of Everything. My worry is about the value-based technology, like what Prof. Osman Bakar mentioned, his keynote speaker. And also what Tristan Harris said in the Social Dilemma, where people go to attractive economy with the artificial social media and artificial intelligence, then we end up, the bottom line is, as you said, revenues or commercial base. So how are we going to bring these societal or value-based for sake of the society excellence rather than commercial excellence? So because you can see all private companies or commercial, they just bottom line is what is your income. It's not how the people's happy or successful in their life. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Encik Fauzan. It's a very interesting and also difficult question. I think in almost any business, it's all about commercial, because in order for them to sustain in their business, somehow they have to find ways of providing or getting the revenue. In fact, when we started off the whole solution, we need to find the right business model. And in order for a company to sustain and ensuring the solutions to be widely provided to the end users, somehow someone needs to make that, someone needs to invest or pay for the services. One answer is that if you're just looking at the government themselves, who have allocated certain amount of budget for the people, and they can subsidize the solution. So sometimes it's more on social enterprise base. It's not necessarily it's going to make real money out of that. I give an example where solutions to track people who are having COVID, and the government is subsidizing the whole solution by providing devices for them to track. So instead of the users themselves have to pay for that devices, then the government have to make that payment. But the company actually were providing that kind of services. So other ways is that in Malaysia, when we started off the whole project, the government also have that kind of what we call a matching grant, some form of matching grant. So it will not be totally 100% by the government, but the company themselves have to find ways of how to fork out their money and giving that kind of solutions. I don't have the answer yet. Even when we have our own solutions, initially we have Rakib. Rakib is a wearable device. It's meant to monitor the elderly people at home. So the question is, who's going to pay for that monitoring of the elderly services? Is it the end users, their children, or another business model where it will be paid by the hospital but provide the services to by the insurance company or to the people themselves? So finding the right business model in ensuring all parties have a win-win situation is the best way. But still we are in the searching mode, find that real good business model. Yeah, sorry don't have the real answer yet. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Mazlan. What a wonderful answer. Any other last questions that we want to take? If not, I want to ask a question. So, Dr. Gamal, one thing is I congratulate you with all you've done in Indonesia. So, how do we see this sort of movement expands in the Southeast Asian region, especially the developing economy in Cambodia, Laos? How do you expect us to replicate what you've done in Indonesia towards other areas?
Okay, thank you, Pak, for the question. I think, if we talk about innovation, there is some step we should through. For example, first, as a startup, and then how could survive, and then after that sustain, and then we discuss about replication, how to replicate it and scale up our innovation. But I think if we I combine this step with the problem, we should make sure that we replicate the innovation in the right location. So if we learn about human-centered design or design thinking, we will learn that we must hear, create, and deliver, empathize, so define problem, and then we continue to ideation, and then continue again, prototype, and test the idea. So that's, I think, how the question is, and our objective also, how replicate in the right location and identify the problem for every location. So I mean, not this innovation must be replicated in another region. Maybe, for example, in other country, how access not become a main problem. For example, Indonesia, if we look at the data for the survey in the last year, COVID-19 is 33% of the problem in the community. So if you ask people in Indonesia, what your main problem? 33% said that COVID-19, and 22% they discuss about high price of food, and about 11-12% people said about jobs, and it's also unemployment result from the COVID-19 also become. So I mean, instead of we try to focus in the replicate or innovation to other region, we should back to the main concept of the innovation that's define a problem and create new solution. And besides that, if we talk about the next step of development, I think collaborate and empower social entrepreneur is very important in the future. I believe, for example, now we have a problem, but we also have opportunity. For example, in my country, like dividend demography or bonus demography, and besides that, we have technology, as a lot of things that have discussed by Pak Iqbal and Pak Mazlan Abbas. I think it's very important for us to clearly use technology to fight against problems. So like leapfrog strategy. Developed country and developing country, I think, have diverse treatment to create a solution, and technology help our country to grow quickly than before. And I believe leapfrog strategy with technology is our best strategy right now, and it will be very effective if we support young people to develop the innovation. People is very powerful. One people, for example, like Muhammad Yunus, I learned a lot of information about his action, and I find great information that his action helped the country to increase GDP between 2 until 3%. Could you imagine? One people can help to improve and increase the GDP of the nation. So investing on the people to become entrepreneur, social entrepreneur, technopreneur, I think it's very important, because this activity will emphasize the creativity and social awareness and empower people to solve the problem. So we are not really again on government to solve the problem, as Pak Mazlan and Pak Iqbal also said before. Ask what you can do, ask what you can give, ask what you can create. I think that's the main idea that I want to mention based on your question. So focus to empower social entrepreneur and identify the problem, and I think it will be our strength and our opportunity to grow and fight in the future. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, inspiring. We would love to know more soon, but we are short in time. I'll pass it back to our brother Effendy. Effendy, give us your last thoughts.
Boleh. Okay, thank you. So I'm so sorry because something happened into in my place. Cyberjaya, the whole Cyberjaya, the internet problem. I'm so sorry about this. This is my first time ever as a moderator since past 45 years. I just want, Amirul, have you raised a question to Mr. Johan? Hello? Hello?
Effendy, could you please resolution it for us? We're short on time, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Have you raised a question to Mr. Johan just now?
We're short on time, sir.
Oh, all right. Okay. So I think I shall open for the Q&A from participant before we shall end our session for this afternoon. So I would like to open any Q&A. I think we can have a 5 minutes Q&A from participants. Yeah. Opinion to share before we shall end to our to next session with Professor Dr. Al-Akiki Afif. All right. By that, I think I would like to go for the summary. I would like to request Dr. Mazlan, maybe 1 minute for our conclusion. Anything from you? Anything from your thoughtful ideas to the participant that related to our discussion for today. So I pass over to you, Dr. Mazlan.
Okay, thanks, Effendy. Just a few last words. For me, I would like to see countries, Malaysia or Indonesia. I think we have seen sometimes we are too much on consuming a lot of products from overseas, meaning to say we are a consumer nation. So I don't like that term of consumer nation where we import technologies, consume them instead of producing our own. So we should be able now in the stage where we become a producer nation. We produce our own product, we produce our own technology, and then we export it overseas. So the idea is for us to grow into an innovative country, innovative nation, where we also increase the knowledge of our people and then the value of our people, then the graduates will have a higher pay because people will pay you because a higher salary because you have that knowledge. So if you are just a consumer nation, that's it. You are not bring much value. So hopefully one day, all of us can become that kind of nation. Thank you.
All right, producer nation, focus, localize it, and go to the global. And now, Mr. Johan, please share your conclusions for our discussion.
Okay, thank you, Effendy. Since you mentioned you are involved in blockchain, I think I just want to share that last year, South Korea announced their plan to create a free trade zone for industrial hemp using blockchain. So the country plans to actually create a free trade zone for all the industrial hemp related to industry and also the medicinal value of it. So that's my sharing on the industrial hemp segment. Thank you for the opportunity and for Noor Conference for organizing this event.
Okay, and then Dr. Gamal, we have met past 5 years, right? We, inshallah, this year we do a lot of collaboration. Alhamdulillah, a little bit short and sweet on the summary conclusion from Dr. Gamal to all of our participants here.
Okay, thank you, Pak Effendy, for the time given to me. So maybe my conclusion about our discussion today is about impact. Yeah. So our focus, let's begin with the end in mind. Yeah. Don't try to impress people, but focus to impact people, because impress will be lost, but impact will survive. Maybe you are impressive, but are you impactful? So let's all of us turn our idea into impact and empower ourselves, our team, and people surrounds us to create impact for society. And besides that, I believe with the power of young people and technology. So give opportunity for youth people. I believe now we are bring our country or the world in the millennial takeover. So combine the potential of youth people and combine it with technology also will become the future of Indonesia and ASEAN. And last, maybe my point for today is about the innovation. There is some option we can create innovation, and how could we create a sustainable innovation in the future? There is some type of innovation, but in my experience, it's very important to combine it, or maybe aligning the existing problem with your patient. So it's important to know yourself and choose it, which one of the problem that you want to solve, and improve your competence, portfolio, and great achievement, and get the trust of the public. It will give opportunity for you to enlarge impact. Okay, that's my point, Pak Effendy, and thank you once again for the opportunity. I hope thank you. Everyone stay healthy, stay productive, and let's collaborate in the future.
And then last but not least, please, Pak Iqbal, share your thoughts, share your visionary ideas on the new energy, and then your advice to the people, to the participants. Yes.
Basically, what we are visioning is with New Energy Asia is basically we want to deliver or bring the what we call it the energy independency for people. People like us should be able to choose our own energy. We are not have to buy energy that provided by the big guys, and we must have a choice. That's our purpose, is that if our energy is cheap and flexible and green, people can choose it. If not, then people can do that. So because energy is the second biggest business after food, so we must grab it. People must become their own business, no longer become only belonging to these big guys. So this is the opportunity in the bioeconomy era, particularly in the next 10 years, will be a big difference in the energy delivery business and energy producing business, and should belong to us, to everybody who want to do this. That's my end remark, and so hopefully we can doing something good together between us in Indonesia and Malaysia and all the ASEAN countries. Thank you.
Inshallah. Alhamdulillah, we have a summary from all the speakers, or the panel speakers, for the participants, for all everybody here that want to have a collaboration. Please do to contact the organizer, because why? Dr. Mazlan Abbas, Dr. Gamal, Mr. Johan, and of course Pak Iqbal. We are ready to do some collaboration after this session. It's not just a talk, it's not just for awareness, but of course we want to go for the adoption for the tech. Especially Pak Iqbal mentioned just now, it's about empowerment the people, empowerment. The startup, right? So we have a same page here. We have all the powerful people in the tech, like Dr. Mazlan, Dr. Gamal, Pak Iqbal, and of course Mr. Johan with a powerful R&D on new tech, food security. Let's do our work. Let's not impress anymore. We want to give impact, like Dr. Gamal mentioned just now. Alhamdulillah, we are now at the end of our session. I would like to express utmost gratitude to the organizer for having us here, and let's go collaborate and empower the people, empower the startup, and we go for the tech that can have a solutions into the nation, into the region. Alhamdulillah, inshallah. By that, I would like to pass back to the organizer, and please join the next session with the professor Afif Al-Akiti. Thank you.